Well, I think in the modern period, despite the sources being grounded in a traditional religious worldview with God at the center, in the modern period, God slowly became eclipsed, or God, the words of dignity and the words of honor, the words of equality, of meaning, of value remained, but the basis, the source, why are we all equal in the eyes of God? We're not all equal when it comes to our physical strength or our intelligence or in our aptitudes, but we are equal at that basic metaphysical core, at our essence, apart from what we've done, apart from what we've made. We are equal, but only because we have a spark of the divine in us. That last part was slowly forgotten in time and slowly eclipsed by more materialistic, more naturalistic accounts of man that saw man's rights as simply being born by his rational capacity, his ability to reason, his ability to think, his ability to have agency and freedom. And while all these things are elements of the Tselem Elokim, they are parts of it. They're not the essence of it. The essence of it is literally this piece of Elokus, this piece of divinity that rests within every human soul. And so the human soul slowly forgot its divine maker and became an autonomous human soul, a self-defining and self-creating human soul. And that is the tale of modernity, and that is the tale of the 20th century with all of its horrors, whether it's fascism or communism, any form of totalitarianism, where man was the centerpiece. We were making ourselves in the image of man, but it became particular men, particular humans that had exerted power and were able to force their vision of reality on other men and women. But we forgot that source that makes us equal, that gives us our dignity, and that's the divine, and that's God. Way back at the beginning of time, in the book of Breshit, in the book of Genesis, we read that God creates man b'tselem Elokim, in the image of God. And that has been for as long as human beings have thought philosophically about the nature of man, the nature of morality. That has been the cry and the call for looking at every human being, regardless of their achievements, regardless of what they've done, what they've made, what they've created, what they've thought. But every human being, by virtue of simply being created, b'tselem Elokim, in the image of God, is of inestimable, infinite value and infinite worth in the eyes of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in the eyes of God. And this theme has been picked up by philosophers, especially in the modern period, philosophers like Locke and Montesquieu and other thinkers that enabled the American Revolution and the French Revolution, the idea of the rights of man. These can all be derived or traced back in some form or another to that verse back at the beginning in the book of Bereshit, in the book of Genesis. And this is something we need desperately today. We need, in our consumerist, in our fast culture that esteems production and what have you done for me lately, we need to be a countercultural voice to suggest that it's simply by virtue of you being created in the image of God, simply by being a human being, whatever your background, male or female, different colors, different religions, you are a child of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you are a child of God. And I think if we can convey that lesson and reinvigorate this teaching into the modern world, then we'll be bringing really a legacy of morality, a legacy of depth, of wisdom to the broader world, and continuing the great Masorah, the great tradition, the great legacy that is the Jewish people, that is the Torah.